Shalom, family. Glory be to God. Let the be the Lamb. Hmm. America gave up. America has given up. A long time ago, actually. They have created a social structure they know is immoral. They know it stands against the very foundation and the principles as written anyway and in their founding documents. Here's what I'm talking about. Love that rooster. That's him greeting. How How long have white supremacy existed in America? Since its founding. Since its founding. But why is it like that? Consider consider its pre-founding. They were immigrants from Europe. Europe emptied out its prisons also and sent them here. Okay? You had those who wanted to come. Then you had those who were given the option of spending years languishing behind bars, or they could come here to the New World. You call them pilgrims, settlers, right around the 1500s. That is the true time that slavery began. Keep saying it all depends on where you start your count in history. It was in the 1500s when they were still just a colony. Okay? There was slavery then. At any rate, that's not the point that I'm trying to make. It isn't about slavery. That's a foregone historical conclusion. Period. There's no debate. There's no debate. The point I'm making is America gave up on itself because if white supremacy can survive as an ideology, then until now, clearly has given up on itself. This is a fact. But let's look at why. Let's look at why. You can't legislate morality. You can't legislate morality from anyone. It's impossible. And they understood that on a cultural level, that they were racist as far as that term goes, in that they were pro-white and they acted on code to support each other in anything against whatever else was out there, be it Indians. Anyway, you get the point. You get the gist of what I'm saying. This began in Europe as in any beginning of a people in flux or motion. You have a class-based society. A class-based society. So even in Britain in the late 1400s and early 1500s, even amongst themselves, they were treating each other inhumane. inhumane. Peasant was a peasant. A lord was a lord. General citizen was a general citizen. You either owned property, had money, or you were at the whim of the exploitative nature of other men in the system. That was life for them in the early 1500s. Told you I was a history buff. So at any rate, the term cracker did not originate in America. It originated in Britain. You see what I'm saying to you? So when you hear a black man or some other race or even their own refer to another white man as a cracker, is it truly racist? If it was a term that was coined by them based on class in Britain, they said that the crackers, and I won't use the term again because it's offensive, I get it, were different than the rest. That they were uncouth, uncultured. Over time, they had been relegated to the fringes of society where they mostly survived by prostitution, criminal actor, minor, I ain't gonna say criminal, not felonious, minor actions, these criminal actions like such as pickpocketing, taking someone's luggage from the train track, that type of thing. That type of thing. Nothing too major. But the point is they had developed their own culture and way of life and way of seeing things over time. So when they colonized America, these were the first to get the hell up out of Britain. And oh yeah, and all of their convicts and all of their prisoners. That is the founding people of America. That's the fact. Now, the other narrative is the folks who wanted to come here, who had money and property, they were fleeing the crown and the rules, the overbearing rules and taxation of the British crown. But that's the other narrative. And that's true too. But what I just showed you was the nuances, the underbelly, what they don't want you to know. Which brings me to my next point. I was watching a show. They came out with this show 2-3 years ago. I think it ran as a series a couple of years, maybe. I'm thinking 1, but I want to give it 2. It was called Blackish. Now, as soon as I seen the name of it, and I seen it as I was passing by, I stopped. It's Blackish. And so I watched the first episode, and I never watched it again because it never made no sense to me. Here's a middle-class family or upper middle-class family who has done everything that they needed to do to get to that position in life. And what they needed to do is not ever be threatening or in opposition to anything around them in terms of other races. Okay? They had inculcated this throughout the family, and I think that they were judges, sort of like an old school Cosby Show. I mean, a more up-to-date version of the Cosby Show. But the point I'm making, or what I'm not understanding now, I didn't understand it then. Why why would someone or a family who is trying to escape the black experience by not engaging in it unless they must, why was it not called whitish? It's, people, it's more than philosophical. On a rudimentary level, or on a a colloquial level, almost a dinner table conversation is what I'm trying to get at. Wow. It's just a bunch of homeboys or family members sitting around each other talking about it. We're not talking academic here. We're not talking academic. It's colloquial, a colloquial conversation, loose, round friends. Why wasn't it called whitish? Let me clear something up. If you have a group of people who does not exude the manifestations of the experiences that they have went through, then that people is not or should not be considered a part of that people group as a mass. This is how we get into these discussions. Like currently, there's a blow up in the black community, and I use the word black as a middle ground. On the other side of it is Negro, and on the other side of it is African American. But I don't want to hard jump up this conversation. We're going to keep it flat, because when I start using those terms, then it gets charged up. That ain't what I'm trying to do. That ain't what I'm trying to do. But if they do not exude the manifestations of the experiences of the mass group of people, are they that people? On a socio-psychological level, get past the physical characteristics, get past the melanin in their skin. Are they to be considered a member of that people group when they have done everything possible to not experience or to not exude their experience of the people group? I sound like one of them educated niggas now, don't I? I sound like one of them educated Negroes, one of them uppity Negroes. That nigga is asking too many questions, and he ain't ranting and raving. There's no anger involved, and he's standing on both feet. I think this is the one we should fear. No, you should fear all of them. All of them. One of them, I am quite sure, has some form of mental illness that I can't quite figure out. But that's my personal business. That's my personal business. But think about it. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, no, they do not. Now, how does this tie in to white supremacy? We're not done with the social structure yet. And the black man's ability to navigate his way through it, or really his impossibility. His impossibility. Number one, you can't look like nothing else but what you are. Any other race in this country can look like something they ain't. You don't have that ability. You don't have the ability to physically assimilate into American society. Every other people group does, by nature of their lack of melanin, or the lesser melanin than what you have. Okay? We're going to just had an ugly scab off a minute. Don't worry, we got antiseptic and band-aids. It's going to be fine. It ain't like the bastard going to bleed out. It's just a sore that's scabbed over. Yes, it's going to be. Just a little bit. So, because of this fact that everyone wants to ignore, you want to ignore it. I've lived amongst pretty much all of the different types of people in this country. I told you I hadn't been some places, seen some things throughout this state and over and beyond. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. And what I found for the black man, for me, you have to take respect and know how to take it. Because it's coming. It is coming. So you must take the respect. Anyway, that's off the beaten path. So if there is a group within that people that has refused to represent in any kind of way, culturally, politically, legally, professionally, then is that people. Now I said earlier we're going to connect this back to white supremacy. So when white supremacy, whose creators have had centuries of watching you as their property, how you move, how you think, how you act, they had already figured out which slaves would be susceptible to their ideology and which slaves would be willing to do their bidding. It started with the overseer. The overseer was usually a slave who was willing to hunt, beat, and help to keep his brother in slavery. We still got overseers to this day. You call them gatekeepers now, but now we done put foot to gate so many times they just gave up on blocking it. We coming in now. Care how big that lock is. We just gonna keep kicking it. Eventually it'll give. It's giving now. So consequently, in the black community, this group of people, and I've been nice. I've been very nice. Usually by now they would have been burst in a derogatory manner at least 5 times. But this morning, no. White supremacy has selected these people, not only these people, but gave them a structured pipeline, a structured mobility built in to access the system, albeit to a lesser degree than the black masses. In other words, we're going to give them some of what we got, and we give them some of what we got, then they will do our bidding, and they will act against their own brothers and sisters. And they do. And they do. If they don't act against them, then they do absolutely nothing, which is acting against them if they're in such a position of power, authority, anywhere, and they choose not to help their brother. That is an act against their brother, because they should not be there, and someone who would help their brother should be there from the masses. Now you're saying that, well, he is articulate. He's articulate. His use of words is just, well, they ain't something I asked for, but it's needed. Got to stay sharp. So, if this is the case, Why aren't we seeing the obvious? We're not seeing the obvious. There is a breakdown in the black community. You thought I forgot where I was going with it? Please. In the black community, they are calling those who for the first time in American history as being a race here are saying that we're not going to vote for someone just because they're black. And we're being called sellouts. Now think about the reversal here. The ultimate sellout is now calling the Negro. Let's get out of the black term now, because this fool here just went straight African American when he said sellout. So he's calling the Negro sellout. And a lot of them, they are talking amongst each other in the circles. They don't understand. They really don't. They are personally offended, not just politically offended. These people are personally offended by the masses have decided that if you do nothing for me, we're not doing anything for you. That is the nature of the entire political system here. But you engage in it now. You are engaging in a way that they no longer have any more influence, authority, or control over you. And once this is complete, then they have no more value to white supremacy. You see what I'm saying to you? Once the gatekeeper, once the boule, as they've been euphemistically referred to, loses its ability to bring in the bacon, and the bacon is you, by controlling you, telling you what to think, how to think, and who to vote for. Now, once they have lost that, then they have no more value to the system itself. Zero value to any portion of it. Quite honestly, not to white supremacy, not to their relevant positions in Congress and the Senate and the mayorships or the legislatures of this country. Zero. This is a structure, people. A structure. A man-made structure. They would say it openly in their books in the 50s and 60s and the 70s. Think I'm lying? Go back and read their books from the 40s and 50s, 60s and the 70s, when they felt like they could be more open about how they actually felt. And so they wrote shit down. They never thought that things would, on a sociological level, in terms of racism and inclusion and opportunity and diversity. Well, I hate that word, diversity. Hate it. But would come. So they were much more forthcoming in how they spoke in that time, which is what this time has been built on. You see? Have I been anti-white or anti-black? I don't feel like I've been anti-white or anti-black, but, I've been careful here because I'm not anti-black or anti-white. I'm either for everything or I'm anti-everything. Ask anybody. I'm anti. If you have been hearing my voice for more than a year, I don't care what your race is, I have already offended you. At least once. At least once. But you felt better once you realized that I didn't single you out. I'm an equal opportunity hater. If hate must be indulged in. Equal opportunity. Okay? So you think about this. And these people, the African American, see, thank you, African man, thank y'all so much. You have been helpful. More help than you think. More help than you think. We are separating. That's what's glorious about it. We're going to get that 1/3 out of there one way or the other. Now they're actually counting each other. These fools, they're counting each other. They're labeling each other out loud. They think that they have arrived at a point in their development, be it sociological, political, or psychological, that they can say things out loud like the white man can and think there's nothing. Who would dare to? Listen, man, we're not interested. I mean, listen, I'm a leader, so I'm going to act like I'm speaking as a leader right now. We're not interested in your successes at all. We're not interested in your happiness and your glow that you exude when you speak of your Greek organizations. And when you speak of these women that's a part of your sister organizations. You know that you sound like foreigners, huh? Foreigners. You are so disconnected from the black experience that you don't even realize it. At times you sound like a clown. You say things like, man, shit I would never say if I understood that I got enemies. Goodness gracious. Goodness. But anyway, one person said, can you imagine an AKA being sworn in on Martin Luther King Day by a Delta Sigma Theta, another black woman? I mean, that would never happen again in our lifetime. 2 black presidents. I almost got happy for him because I could see why he would be happy. Because in their history, they now have that a Chupa Choppa Chippa as an organization had within it one of the vice presidents and came to talk to them personally. They would write it in their history books. It would benefit them as an organization and its members. So when they say things like that, they don't expect to return fire, and they don't even know of the depth of the bullets, because as soon as I go to, okay, it's funny that you bring that up, but I'm not going to do that this morning. But it's funny that you bring that up. Let us explore. Let us further extrapolate from what you're saying. Have a seat, because you're going to leave here mad. And one of us might even leave here with a black eye or something, because you're going to get that upset because you won't see the obvious. You don't want to see the obvious because you don't live in the obvious. You've done everything you could to get away from the black experience, the black dichotomy, as you can. You refuse the obvious, and we don't besmirch you that. We really don't. Trust me, none of us is envious of anything that you have acquired, be it in terms of women, men, family, children, financial, or land ownership. Sound like I'm talking about a white man, don't it? Ain't that something? Ain't that something? But I'm not. But it's obvious that I'm talking to another race of people. That's not us. It's obvious. It is obvious. And yet they don't see it. Or they refuse to see it. So from time to time, the whole world has to see their foolishness as in now. See, look at their foolishness. They're just like others. Man, I hate America. No one wants to claim who and what they are. Nobody. Damn it, Jim. Are y'all that bad? That you gotta hide what you really are? How you really think? But this guy, he was so emotional that he said things that he probably shouldn't have said. And now he gets the return fire. Not from me. He's become the brunt of jokes. I think that some of them even shed tears. I shit you not. Some of them even shed tears. Listen, I'm sorry about this divorce. I mean, I tried to do this the easy way and get you to sign the paperwork the easy way. First, I spoke of separation. I mean, we needed time apart, but you wouldn't listen. You wouldn't listen. We have been growing apart for a while now. We have been growing at different levels, and we're going in different directions. And you won't let us go. You refuse to sign papers. It ain't like we love each other. You know we don't. In fact, we even go so far as to avoid each other. Y'all, folks, rest of your races, y'all didn't know that African Americans and Negroes avoid each other? Y'all didn't know that? When you're in stores, well, you ain't gonna catch the Negro and African American in the same store because a Negro is in a different economic class than the African Americans, so we frequent different types of stores. But if you ever can catch both, ain't that sad that I can say such a thing? But what's crazy about it, I could say the same thing about other races. If you listen, it's just that he's talking about another race, not Negroes. Okay, he doesn't have to say African American at this point. It's obvious. It was obvious from the start. But they exist on a different economic plane. So, but if you're ever in the position to catch the successful or the moneyed Negro in the same area or scenario as the African American, stand back and watch. Don't say nothing. Just stand back and observe. And you will clearly see, as clear as day, they don't have nothing in common with each other. Both them Negroes and the Negro used to be is uncomfortable as hell. They don't even know each other on no level, not even cultural. It's time for the rest of the world and the African American and what's left of the Negro. I think he mostly gets it. But there's still a few out there that don't want to get away from their mamas and brothers and sisters because they have become African Americans and successful in it. And so they got clingy. Well, we ain't gonna worry about it. They'll be along soon enough. But for the rest of you, I've given you an abject sociological lesson this morning. And what it is in this country, in the reality of things. In the reality of things. It's time for us to come to grips with this. This is very important that all races come to grips with what's really going on. Okay? Because if you do this, then you will do what you have to do inside of you to do your part to rectify the issue. The issue ain't black, white. The issue is right and wrong, good, evil. You know that it is wrong. By the millions, you know that it is wrong. And yet you endure. And yet you endure. You expect God to endure such suffering as you has endured the suffering? Him to endure the image of misery and unrighteousness as you have elected to do? He won't. He won't. You have to rectify the situation, fix the problem, and probably dodge bullets that's already in the pipe anyway. They're already on their way out the barrel. It just ain't exited the barrel yet. So you're not going to dodge those bullets that's been preset. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. Because if we are forced to do it by ourselves, it's going to be 10 times worse as it would have when we all understood that this is just the right motherfucking thing and these other people are owed their money and their land and their property. I just witnessed not just witnessed, a historical case where black people had their money at a bank. They lost, in what is today's dollars, $58 million from a bank that was set up by the U.S. Congress. Okay? 58 million. You want to believe that black people are lazy, shiftless? No, they gave up just like the white man did. He's given up. Oh man, here's how he thinks. It's a part of us. We're gonna speak of racism, of what we would think is racism, but he will deny. Okay, it is a part of his culture, a part of his family, a part of his history, a part of his bloodline, and it cannot be legislated out of existence. It can't be punished out of existence because it is at the core of their existence. You see? And the black man has built up so much and had it ripped from him over so many times, he just gave up. Why would you build it and they just gonna come take it at some future point? I don't care what it is. So they both gave up on each other, but on themselves. This is why I say America gave up a long time ago. Once that dude there had reached the point that he understood that I can't do nothing about how I really am, the rest of the country was screwed. He was unable to conquer his own demons, so now everybody have to deal with his demons that he can't conquer. Up to this day, right now, we are still having black-white race cases up in court in 2024. Right now. It is crazy as hell for any black man to go before a white man to be judged. To be judged in any manner. In any kind of manner. Anyway, have I become racist yet? Because I speak the obvious. You have two sets of people here, each just wonderfully playing their roles. Just don't get involved in their role playing, cause you were up, man. You will upset the boat, might turn the boat over. Some of them might jump. Some of them might try to kill you. Some of them might even try to kill you. I'm telling you, that's how important that this role is to each of them. I've seen it from whites and I've seen it from blacks. With my own eyes. Man, listen here, I've been in such all white places as an ice house. Black people don't take your ass in no ice house, nigga. You go to the bar or the club, never the ice house. You are surely gonna meet your end. All them drunk, racist white boys in there listen to goddamn Bitty Pride and shit, nigga, you gonna die. Oh man, but that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. And the white boy is right. He's right. There's nothing to be done about it. So everyone else has to accept what it is for him to remain sociologically, politically at the station he's currently in, comfortably at the top. It is a matter of acceptance. And you have accepted it. He has accepted it. That's how it is. Any old rate. I've been talking too long anyway. I meant to only talk to you 30 minutes. I'm into 40 minutes and 45 seconds. So enjoy the rest of your morning. I am Source. I am 7.